Hello, everyone. I'm Patricia Raskin, and I'm so honored to introduce my friend and colleague, Paula Marshall. Paula Marshall is the chairman and CEO of the Bama Companies. Bama is an innovator of wholesale bakery products. It counts large-scale restaurant chains, including the nation's largest hamburger chain, the nation's largest pizza chain, and the nation's largest retailer among its customers. Paula Marshall has significantly grown Bama during her 3+ decades as CEO. While setting a precedent on quality, Bama is hailed as a leader in the baking industry and has even been recognized by the United States Department of Commerce as a winner of the prestigious Malcolm Baldridge Award for quality. The Bama Companies also recently became the first manufacturer in Oklahoma, and it became a B Corp certified. A native Tulsan, Paula received her Bachelor's of Science degree in business, a master's degree in communication, and her doctorate of commercial science from Oklahoma City University. Paula serves on the board of directors of American Fidelity, the Deming Institute, Southern Hills Country Club, Tulsa Tennis Club, American Bakers Association, and the Tulsa Port Authority. Marshall served as the chairman of the Tulsa Chamber of Commerce and was one of the first women asked to join the Young Presidents Organizational Oklahoma chapter. Paula has been named one of the top 10 CEOs by Industry Week magazine, one of Oklahoma's most admired CEOs by the Journal Record, and was selected Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst Young. She is also a member of the Oklahoma Department of Commerce Business Hall of Fame. I met Paula Marshall when she was a guest on my colleague's radio show. Her message was so compelling that I invited her to be a guest on my radio show. That was 12 years ago. Paula has been a regular guest on my radio and now podcast program ever since, and she's become a friend. Paula really walks her talk. The title of one of her several books says it all, Finding the Soul of Big Business. She so believes in the power of her employees, and they are called team members. Paula started working on the floor of the manufacturing plant of Bama growing up when her father owned the company, and she knows how Bama works from the bottom up. She's there for her team members and works diligently to foster positive communication and inclusion. Paula is my role model for leadership, vision, compassion, and creating win-win situations. I bring you Paula Marshall.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here. And thank you so much to Patricia and the committee for inviting me to join. I'm having a little difficulty getting my my presentation to come up. I don't know if you guys are seeing it yet or not, but it is something that Patricia and I have worked on very hard and very diligently. And if we can't get it to come up, I will be happy to share my thoughts with you without the document being available. What I wanted to start out with today was to give you a little bit about my journey, about where I've come from, where I've been, and how I run the company, and what things I can maybe share with you today to help you. In your journey through life. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you have. So what we've got today for you is my journey from how I became the CEO of Bama. It was not a normal way of getting to the C-suite. It was not something that I had planned. It was not something that I deliberately went after. In fact, in my family, if you happen to be a girl, which I was and am, and a very proud woman who was always busy working and doing whatever my company needed me to do, I was able to survive in a very male-oriented industry, in a male-dominated family. And how did I do that? Well, I would just tell you that the best way I could say it is I got a very big dose of life early on when my father had a heart attack, and 6 months later, my older brother had a heart attack. So we went into the fire, my mother and I, and did everything we could to preserve the business and to keep the business going, even in the face of some headwinds from our customer who really wasn't sure that it was something that they wanted to do, was to have a woman in the business. So we went to work. We were determined to do all the right things and to keep the company going, even in the face of my dad, my brother being very sick and very ill. And we survived. And lo and behold, sometimes when you just keep your head down and you do your work and you do what you know is right, the world and the circumstances move and shift, and somehow a miracle occurs, and somehow through customers who didn't think that I had what it took to be the woman in charge of this great company, I was able to demonstrate to them and show them through just sheer hard work and not even being able to have a moment to decide that we were going to do something, that we were not going to be able to be successful. So we were able to come through that with McDonald's finally coming in and saying, maybe this would work. Maybe you being a woman entrepreneur would work for us, even though we don't really know you. You don't have a lot of experience. I was 27 years old at the time, and they were actually open to the idea after my dad frankly told them there's not going to be any other way to do this. So we got certified in 1994 as a woman-owned business. And that meant that my father had to do something that no one ever thought he would do. And that is that he actually took his shares and split them between my mother and I, so that we could have the control of the shares of the company, as well as the control, because we were there working every day and doing the things that we needed to do for our customers. I was also able during this time to gather some new customers, some customers that we hadn't had before, and we started making dough for Yum Brands, which makes all the Pizza Hut dough in the U.S. So we're very fortunate to have clients like that, clients who are wonderful, pay their bills, and believe in relationships. And over the years, that is how I have tried to run my organization, with all of the things that I've learned from my parents and also from my mentor, Dr. W. Edward Deming. And I have a slide presentation that I wasn't able to get up this morning, and I would be happy to share that with everyone if you're okay with that. During the last 25 years, we've grown from not only being a local business here in Oklahoma and exporting to all over the world. We've built some plants in China. We've built 3 plants in China. We've built a couple of plants in Europe. And we have about 2,000 team members worldwide. What makes people want to come to Bama? And what I've tried to do, the same thing I've tried to do with customers, I've also tried to do with our team members. And that is, I've tried to show them that Bama is a caring company. Our mission is people helping people be successful, and with caring and accountability. We have set up all of our systems internally to show that we are a global organization, but we're different. We're different because we care about people. One of the highlights of my career was in 2017, we opened what I've called the Bama Caring Center. And the Bama Caring Center is a wonderful part of Bama which is something that I believe women-owned businesses and businesses all over the world should be doing for their team members. It is a helping center. It is a caring center. It is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with counselors, with a couple of legal aid people who help people with all kinds of legal issues. Because what I found is people come to work burdened by their own problems, burdened by the problems that they have that they may not feel comfortable sharing with their supervisor. And it may be too busy in the workplace, quite frankly, to add a lot of counseling or a lot of help to listen to people's problems. So what we found is the supervisors, their job is to supervise, but the other people in the organization, it's their job to bring their whole self to the work, but sometimes they need help doing that. A lot of people in our society today have problems with drugs, with alcohol, with money, adoption, immigration, all kinds of problems that maybe a counselor can't necessarily help, but a legal person can. So in 2017, we opened the Bama Caring Center, and today we have helped over 1,000 of our team members get through all kinds of issues in their families, personal issues, health issues, nutrition issues, help with smoking. And it has really been a huge benefit for all of our team members in Bama. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was becoming a B Corp. And part of what being a B Corp means, and it's something that's very important to us, is that we are a business that is good for the planet. And I think women have opportunities to become B Corps more often than other types of corporations. And why is that? Because women understand how to nurture, how to take care of, and not only the team members that work for us, but also our suppliers, our communities. There's a higher level of volunteerism with women-owned businesses than there is in normal corporations. And I believe that is because women are nurturers and women care. And there is this thing called B Corp that companies like Patagonia and Athleta and Danone yogurt, those companies are B Corps. And that means that they buy with a green, sustainable idea in mind. That means that we don't litter the planet with our trash and our waste. It means that we take care of our people, that we help people from all over the communities rise up and become the leaders that they know they can be. It's not a color initiative. It's not a diversity initiative. It's more than that. It's about the whole vibrancy of the corporation, which is focused on doing good for the planet. And that means in every aspect of what we do and where we live and how we treat our resources and how we treat our communities. So I wanted to just put a plug in for the B Corps of America and ask that maybe as a takeaway from this, that you all could look into this and look into what it would take to becoming a B Corp. Or if you work for a corporation and you work for a company, how can you help your company do better? How can you bring ideas forward that will help your company do better? And if they're not interested, then do better on your own. Take your family and look at how are you living and how can you help the planet by volunteering in the community, by being great citizens, by supporting everything that your family believes in. So with that, I would be happy and welcome any questions. And I don't know if that means you're going to send me chat questions or if the moderators are going to send me chat questions, but I would be happy to answer questions. And Patricia, maybe you have some things that you'd like me to touch on.
Hi, Paula. This conference is very much about leadership and also diversity and equity for women. So my question to you is, how are you addressing that in Bama? in terms of diversity among females and diversity in general?
Well, that's a great question, Patricia. We have a lot of diversity initiatives, and that doesn't just mean with our own team members, with our own management team. It means with our suppliers. It means with our community. It means partnering with suppliers who have diverse businesses within their own business, looking for minority-owned businesses, looking for those minorities that don't have an opportunity. And that's part of what B Corp is all about too, Patricia. B Corp is a way of saying we're going to partner with our community to help everyone grow. And we're going to very aggressively look for those diverse candidates when we're hiring someone. We're going to go out and look. And so one of the policies and one of the practices and processes that Bama has in place is that we will, for every job that's open, we will interview a diverse candidate. And that is very important to us. So we are pushing, we are pressing, and it has grown greatly within Bama, the amount of diverse candidates that we have. But it wouldn't have happened if we didn't put the requirement in there that for any new job or for any job promotion that Bama has, that we have to have at least one or two diverse candidates to pick from. Because it's a problem in society where, as a lot of people in companies and a lot of corporate America is this way. I mean, you can look at the Fortune 100, the Fortune 500, and you're going to see less than 20 women at the top. There's a lot of reasons that happens, but it's also not anything that we can't do something about. So in giving you a little bit more backstory on Bama, and again, I want to apologize that I could not get my slides to come up for this presentation. I have worked and worked and worked, and for some reason, this technology today, it didn't allow my presentation to come up. But I would tell you a little bit more about Bama and who we are and what we do. And I would actually tell you that probably today, probably at least sometime this week, one of you, or maybe 50% of you, or maybe all of you have eaten a Bama product and you just didn't know it. Bama provides the apple pies for McDonald's. We provide all of the new pumpkin and cream pie. If you've ever been through McDonald's and you've had an opportunity in the last 4 weeks to go to McDonald's, you've eaten a pumpkin and cream pie. We have holiday pies. We have a lot of other things that we do. We also make the hot cakes, and we also make the breakfast biscuits for McDonald's. So you, probably in the course of your week, if you've gone to McDonald's in the last week, you've probably had one of Bama's products. We also make the dough for Pizza Hut. So if you and your family ever eat pizza from Pizza Hut, that means you have been able to eat a Bama product. So I want you to know that even though you're maybe not familiar with our name, the reason why is that Bama doesn't have a retail brand. And the reason why we don't have a retail brand and why we've chosen to focus on very large customers and being a supplier to the food service industry is because being in a retail establishment is very difficult for a company like me to do. There are so many fees and so many costs to being able to get a product on the shelf in a grocery store. It's very expensive. And it's basically slanted towards the very, very, very large multinational companies. And that is why we are not on the grocery shelf. So if you ever wonder why you see companies doing a lot of B2B, or they're on the internet, or they're talking about their products on the internet, just realize that it's probably was financially not viable for them to have a product on the retail shelves because it's so expensive. So if you want to buy local and you want to look for smaller companies that maybe aren't on the grocery shelves, you've got to look at little niche niche places, not at the big giant grocery stores, because when we look at doing business with those folks, it could be millions of dollars to get one product on a shelf. And we just don't have that kind of money to throw at that. So when we talk about doing business with someone like a McDonald's Corporation or a Yum Brands, we do business with companies who are very relational. We do business with companies who sit down and take the time to know us, and they want to do business with minorities, or they want to do business with and be inclusion, have inclusion, or they want to have diversity in their ranks. So we have managed to, by becoming a woman-owned business, we have managed to stay in a competitive environment with our philosophies of making the highest quality product for the lowest cost. We have been able to stay very competitive and compete with all of the biggest companies in the world: Quaker Oats, General Mills, a lot of companies that are in our space that can't even begin to compete with us because we are small, nimble. And I will tell you that most of those companies will never see the CEO. They will never see the CEO of General Mills or Quaker Oats or PepsiCo or any of those companies. But with me, I can walk into their building and talk with them, and they know if they need a decision made right away, that we can do it, because we're very lean, because we're very flat, and because we can make decisions on a dime. And most companies can't do that. We can also make decisions to make investments and partner, and we don't have to have a contract to do it. We don't have contracts with very many of our very large customers. And that always shocks a lot of people. And people are always wondering, well, how do you do that? And the reason that is because we are not normal, like a normal company. We are not viewed like a normal company. And that is because we put the customer first. We put people first. And we are different in that we don't put the numbers first. We don't put the financial results first. We don't put the company profits first. We put the relationships first. And that is why all of these big Fortune 100 companies love doing business with us. They can make one phone call and they can get answers, and they don't have to go through a myriad of bureaucratic layers. So I would also say to you guys, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to do business with the big companies, really focus on the fact that you are there, that you are the CEO, that you are the person in charge, and you will always be taking care of them. And that is exactly what my philosophy of business has been. Stay close to the customer, stay close to our people, and turn our people loose to be able to solve the problems that our customers have. Our customers all have big problems, but our people and our teams work so closely with them, and we're so integrated into their systems that we never have to worry about not knowing what's going on, and being surprised, because we're in depth, we're in those conversations, and we are not going to stop doing our business that way, because we will never be like the other companies that we compete with and fill ourselves with bureaucratic layers and put people in positions where they can't make decisions for the customer. So let me talk a minute about some of the books I've written. I've written several books. Patricia asked me to talk about those today. Why? First of all, let me tell you why I would do that. It's important to me that a company with a soul like ours, and I wrote a book called The Soul of Big Business, where we try to help people when they come to work to find the joy in the work. And we want people to understand that it's very important to us that every person come with their spirit, with their goals, with their love, with their joy, and they bring that to the company. We do not believe in pounding down people to get productivity and product and profit. We want people to be part of what we're doing. We want people to enjoy what they're doing. And we feel like when people are happiest, then they will know what to do. And that is proven out time and time and time again. I have stories all over the company that I wrote down in my book about people going above and beyond and over and under any kind of barrier to get a product to a customer who was running out, or to help a customer who didn't have the ability to fix some of their equipment even. And we've taken a truck over and they've put their product on our truck for 2 weeks until they could get their freezers fixed. I mean, these are the kinds of things that when you're doing business with big companies, that really engenders a lot of loyalty and will keep you in the door of that company when other companies will go out. It's going above, it's going over and above. So I wanted to write down my story in the book I wrote about the soul of big business and what it means for people to really be um, engaged and love what they do and understand what's important for the customer and help at any cost. And that's what you see more and more companies doing. You see more and more companies putting the company first, putting people first, and putting the customer really first. And that means empowering people on the lines in the processes that are doing the work for you, or you're doing the work yourself. It's important to understand really going over and above, having the passion for the product and the customer, and engendering that loyalty for a long, long time. Our relationships with our major customers span 50 years, 30 years, 40 years. I mean, how often do you hear that from business people, that they have customers that they've been doing business with for over 50 years? That is what we do at Bama. The reason why we're able to do that is the continuity of the owners. My father to me, and now I'm going to the next generation. It will be the generation 4 that I'm bringing on in my family to carry on the continuity of Bama and how we do business and how we put the customers first. Then the second thing is to make sure management and team members are hired and trained and that they understand the focus of the company and what it is and why it is, because we're engendering loyalty from our largest customers. And it's important for everyone in the company to understand we put customers first. That is not just a tagline that we use. That is an actual fact that we want people deploying to that mission every single minute of every single day. So that is not in question. It's never a question. But we've given people and empowered our management teams and our team members to make those things happen and when it happens. So I want you guys to know this is not just something that we talk about. It is something that we do every day, and it's important that we do it every day. So the training goes along with the hiring. The company commitment goes along with giving people the authority at the baseline level to do the work and for not having to question if this is the right thing or not, or worry about if they're going to get in trouble. One of the things that Patricia and I wanted to share with you is what is the future of women CEOs? What is the future of women in the workplace? And I would just tell you that right now, the future has never been brighter. So many people are looking for great entrepreneurial businesses that are diverse. They are tired of doing business with the old line, the old guard, and the old way of thinking. So, what does that mean for you? Okay. That means sitting down with yourself, sitting down with your family, sitting down in a quiet spot, and really trying to seek to understand from your purpose, from your soul, from your destiny on this planet, where is the right place for you to spend your time? Where is the right place for you to grow and develop? Is it in the corporate world? Is it on the corporate track, because if that is your desired place to be, not just because you want to make a lot of money, but let's say you want to empower a lot of people, you want to affect a lot of people, I will tell you that this role doesn't come without sacrifices. So anybody that you might listen to that might say women can have it all, women can be it all, we can do it. Well, we can, but we have to make sacrifices. So your family needs to know and understand, if you have a family, if you have a husband, or I'm sure everyone has moms and dads and sisters and brothers. But if you don't, if you just have a mom and a dad, even important for them to understand the goal that you have for yourself in life and why it will take you away from time with them. There is not enough time in the day for a woman CEO to do everything that she needs to do in a company, with customers, with suppliers, with people, with the community, with the environment, with everything that we are trying to do, to spend quality time with your family. So it's really important that your family get brought into your personal mission and your idea of your growth path and where you want to go, and that your family is supportive and that they understand, and that where possible, you will cut time out of your career to make time for them. Because there are places and times in a career that you can just say, no, I am not, I've been here 7 days already. I'm going to take off a day and spend it with my family. That is acceptable in corporate America today. A lot of women are not taking advantage of it, and they need to. But the other thing I would say is a lot of women are unfortunately stepping off of the C suite path because they've realized that they don't have the ability to do it all. And they want to step back and work a little less or a lot less and be home more with their families. And I want you to know, every single one of you, that whatever choice you make, whatever decision you have, whatever development track you want to be on, whether it's to be the best mom, to be the best wife, and to be a great person at a career, but that the career is not everything, that is perfectly fine. If the career is everything that you want and you believe that it is going to make you happy, then by all means, that is the path to take. I can tell you that getting to this spot where I am today has not been easy, and it has not been guilt free, and it has not been free of many emotional trials and tribulations that I have had. And I want you all to know that at times in your life, you might feel beaten down. You might feel like you weren't able to accomplish everything that everyone needed from you. And sometimes that takes a toll on our emotional self and our emotional well being. And one of the things that I would say to you, that the most important thing is when you are at a point like that in your life, is to take a step back, take some time, even if it's a long weekend, and just sit back and meditate and pray about what it is that you are supposed to be doing in this life and where you're supposed to be. And I will just say to you, the answers will come. The answers will come to you in the quiet, in the spirit, where your mind can relax and just feel what it is that you need to be doing and what you should be doing, and you will make the right choices. Sometimes we have to step off of the career path to take care of kids. Sometimes we have to step off the career path to take care of elderly parents, sick parents. I know a lot of women who have done that. And I want to tell you that there may not be an immediate recognition for you that that is the important thing for you to do, but you will recognize it in yourself, and you will be able to be a stronger person because you're doing the right thing. Because sometimes when life hits us and when life is not favorable to us, and we have personal and financial tragedies that we need to deal with. And I know there's so many of these kinds of people, all of us are dealing with right now. The only thing you can do is love yourself. Number one, love yourself and take care of yourself first. Love your family and the relationships that you have with friends and folks who have been there for you over time and folks who you want to give something back to. The career guys will always be there. There will always be opportunities. There will always be opportunities for hardworking women. I can tell you right now, this world needs us. It needs us in a big way, and it needs us even more now than when we were on the treadmill going towards some C-suite with some idea in mind of what we were trying to do. But unfortunately, we got on the treadmill and we were running and running and running, and we ran so hard that we lost sight of what we were doing it for. We lost sight. And we just continued running because that is what the ego tells us to do. The ego is always in your head talking, talking, talking. And the ego is always saying horrible things to you that life and love would never say. You're not good enough. You're not skinny enough. You're too fat. You're too dumb. You're too this. You're too that. If you hear voices like that talking to you within yourself, they have to be terminated immediately. Those voices are not helpful for us. They're not there for our benefit. They're not there for our better good. And we've got to turn those off because those voices will destroy us. And if we allow ourselves to be destroyed, what happens to our families? What happens to people that need us? Our relationships, what happens to those? If we're destroyed, what happens to those? So I say, spend time in quiet, spend time deciding what you really want to do. And when you do that, you're gonna feel a freeing sense of responsibility for one thing or another. And I want to say, freeing yourself to love yourself and to spend time understanding what you want and what you need will be the best gift you can ever give yourself and you can ever give everyone else in your life with you. Sometimes stepping off of the treadmill is the right thing to do. Sometimes getting on the treadmill and turning up the gas is also the right thing to do. But all I would say is make sure that your family and people around you understand when you're getting to ready to get back on the treadmill and turn it up, that you're going to be going 100 miles an hour with your company and that you're doing that for a specific reason, for a specific benefit that the family will see. But in the meantime, there are going to be times when they're not going to see you because you're going to be busy working and keeping the gas on the treadmill so that you are going to come eventually to a bigger benefit for you and the family. And they need to understand what that is. And your kids need to understand what that is. And your relationships need to understand what that is. And once you can do that, once you can have that, once you can be that, you are a more well-rounded whole person that's going to be extremely attractive to any career track, any business, any entrepreneurial venture. People want to deal with people who fill the world with joy and light and love. So I want to thank you all for allowing me to be part of this today. I really apologize about the slides. I hope I have been able to give you some faith and knowing where the future is for you. I believe in the conference. I believe in R.I.S.E. I believe we're all on the rise in some place, in some fashion. Being on the rise is important. It's also important to know where you are on that track of being risen, because we're all in different phases, different times, and different places. So I want to just thank you all for your attention today. I want to appreciate you for understanding about my problems with my slide presentation. And I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I hope you got something out of the talk.